All rise.
The Kosovo Specialist Chambers is now in session.
Please be seated. Good morning and welcome everyone to this initial appearance hearing. Madam Court Officer, could you please call the case?
Good morning, Your Honor. This is file KSCBC 2023-12. The Specialist Prosecutor versus Hashim Thaçi, Bashkim Smakaj, Isni Kilaj, Fadil Fazliu, and Hayreddin Kuçi.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Before we start the hearing, I would like to give the photographer the opportunity to take some pictures. Please proceed, Mr. Photographer. Thank you, Mr. Photographer. And before asking those present in the courtroom to introduce themselves, I would like to remind everyone of the rules that must be observed at all times in order to facilitate the smooth conduct of the proceedings. Please ensure that you activate your microphone before speaking and that you switch it off as soon as you are finished. Talk slowly and clearly, as we have interpretation from and to Albanian and Serbian. Wait 5 seconds before responding to me or a party in order to allow the interpreters to finish the interpretation. I would also like to remind you that certain information in this case is subject to confidentiality. Confidential information shall not be disclosed in open session. If any party wishes to refer to or discuss any confidential information, please request to go into private session. Now, I would kindly ask the parties to introduce themselves, starting with the Specialist Prosecutor's Office.
Good morning, Your Honor. Josh Afitz on behalf of the Specialist Prosecutor's Office, and joining here today as well are the Specialist Prosecutors seated behind me, Kim West, seated to my left, Earl Sullivan, and Fabian Unsernad seated behind him. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the defense, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. Alexander Admiraal, representing Mr. Hayreddin Kuçi as a duty counsel.
Thank you, counsel. And for the record, I note that your client, Mr. Kuçi, is also present in the courtroom. I now turn to the registry, please.
Good morning, Your Honor, and good morning, colleagues. For the registry today, Whitney Price, legal counsel, and myself, Jonas Nilsson, deputy registrar. Thank you.
Thank you. And last, for the record, I'm Marjorie Masselot, pre-trial judge for this case. The accused is appearing today for the first time before the specialist chambers following confirmation of the indictment against him on 29th November 2024. Mr. Kuçi, will you please stand? And turn on your microphone. And could you please state your full name, date, and place of birth?
William Hayreddin Kuçi.
Hayreddin Kuçi, born on the 2nd of January 71 in Lutolovt of Pay. I live in Pristina.
Could you tell us what your citizenship or what your citizenships are?
Unë jam shqiptar.
I am Albanian, a citizen of Kosovo Republic, but I do have also citizenship from Albania Republic.
Thank you. Could you also please tell us what is your current profession?
Unë jam profesor i universitetit.
Professor at Pristina University.
Mr. Kuçi, you may be seated. And please turn off your mic. Before we proceed any further, Mr. Kuçi, I have to make sure that you can follow the proceedings in a language that you understand and speak. Can you please confirm that you understand and speak Albanian?
Po, e kuptoj gjuhën.
Yes, I speak Albanian. I understand it. It's my mother tongue.
Thank you. By this, I'm satisfied that you can follow. Just please turn off your microphone. Thanks. By this, I'm satisfied that you can follow the proceedings in Albanian, a language that you understand and speak, in accordance with Rule 92 of the Rules of Procedure and Evidence. If at any moment in the course of the proceedings you are not receiving interpretation, Mr. Kuçi, please draw my attention to it immediately. You may now be seated, and I will give a short procedural history to introduce today's initial hearing. On 29th of November 2024, in my capacity as pre-trial judge, I partially confirmed the indictment submitted by the specialist prosecutor against Mr. Thaçi, Bashkim Smakai, Hisni Kilay, Fadil Fazeliu, and Hayreddin Kuçi, charging Mr. Kuçi with 2 counts of contempt of court. I also issued a summons to appear for Mr. Kuçi on the same day, ordering him to appear today before me in court. On 5th of December 2024, the SPO served Mr. Kuçi in Kosovo with a summons to appear and the confirmed indictment translated into Albanian. Now, allow me to recall the specific purpose of this initial appearance for the benefit of Mr. Kuçi. Mr. Kuçi, today's hearing is not a trial. No evidence will be presented or debated, nor will the guilt or innocence of yourself be discussed or decided. The very purpose of this initial hearing is regulated by Article 39(5) of the law and Rule 92 of the rules. According to these provisions, as a pretrial judge, I shall have the charges in the confirmed indictment which you've received read to you. Confirm that you understand the indictment. Satisfy myself that the rights of the accused, in particular his right to counsel, are respected. Inform the accused that within 30 days of today's hearing, he will be called upon to admit guilt or plead not guilty on each charge set out in the indictment. If the accused wishes to do so, and we will get there in a few minutes, he may also immediately admit guilt or plead not guilty. And finally, I shall set order dates as appropriate in performing my functions as pretrial judge. These are the matters which will be addressed in turn during today's initial appearance. Should either party wish to discuss any other matter not expressly foreseen in the context of the initial appearance, I invite you to do so through a filing in written form. First, Mr. Kuçi, may I invite you to please stand up again, and may I ask you to confirm that you have received the confirmed indictment in a language that you understand and speak. Please turn on your microphone.
Yes, I received the indictment both in Albanian and in English.
Before Madam Court Officer reads the confirmed charges against you, I wish to remind you that this is not the time to contest them, but simply to acknowledge your understanding thereof. You will have the opportunity to challenge the charges with the assistance of your counsel. I will now ask Madam Court Officer to read out the charges in the confirmed indictment as foreseen in Article 39.5 of the law and Rule 92.2b of the rules.
Thank you, Your Honor. 1. In the confirmed indictment, the Specialist Prosecutor charges Mr. Hayreddin Kuçi with Count 18, contempt of court, punishable under Article 393 of the 2019 Kosovo Criminal Code and Article 15.2 of the law. 2. This offense was committed between at least 1 and 13 September 2023. Count 19, contempt of court, punishable under Article 393 of the 2019 Kosovo Criminal Code and Article 15.2 of the law. 3. This offense was committed on or about 12 April 2023. 4. In relation to these offenses, there is a well-grounded suspicion that Mr. Hayreddin Kuçi is criminally responsible pursuant to Article 16.3 of the law for A. Committing the offense of contempt of court under Count 19 pursuant to Article 17 of the 2019 Kosovo Criminal Code, and B. Agreeing to commit with Mr. Hashim Thaçi the offense of contempt of court under Count 18 pursuant to Article 35 of the 2019 Kosovo Criminal Code. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Mr. Kuçi, did you please understand the charges contained in the confirmed indictment as just read out to you by Madam Court Officer?
Yes, I understood them.
The law on the specialist chambers and the rules of procedure and evidence guarantee you a number of rights, and I will read out the most important ones, especially those relevant at this specific stage of the proceedings. You shall be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. In the determination of the charges against you, you are entitled to a fair and public hearing, subject to any measure ordered for the protection of victims and witnesses. You have the right to be informed promptly and in detail, in a language which you understand, of the nature and cause of the charges against you. You have the right to have adequate time and facilities for the preparation of your defense and to communicate with the counsel of your own choosing. You have the right to be tried within a reasonable time. You have the right to be tried in your presence and to defend yourself through your counsel. You have the right to have counsel assigned to you and without payment if you do not have sufficient means to pay for it. You have the right to receive the free assistance of an interpreter if you cannot understand or speak the language used in court. You have the right not to be compelled to testify against yourself or to admit guilt. And you have the right to remain silent, and no adverse inference shall be drawn from your silence. Mr. Kuçi, I've read to you the most important rights that you enjoy in accordance with the applicable legal framework of the specialist chambers. Do you understand these rights?
Yes, I understand them.
I then also take note that you are represented by Counsel Admiral, and I'm therefore satisfied that the accused is presently represented by counsel. I will now turn to the right of the accused to enter an immediate plea, if any, in accordance with Rule 92 of the rules. Mr. Kuçi, as already mentioned, within 30 days from today, you will be called upon to admit guilt or plead not guilty on the charges in the indictment. If you wish to do so, you may choose to immediately admit guilt or plead not guilty. I would therefore like to ask you, Mr. Kuçi, if you have had the opportunity to discuss the charges in the confirmed indictment with your counsel, and if you are prepared to enter a plea at this time. You have the floor.
Your Honor, I will plead myself now.
This is noted. You still have the floor.
Zonja gjyqtare,
Your Honor, prosecutors, ladies and gentlemen, I am completely innocent. This is a very dark moment for me, as a moment whose profession is law, that I have exercised all my life. I have been a professor of law for over 30 years, the chairman of the Constitutional Commission of the Kosovo Republic, the constitution that is still in force, as former deputy prime minister for 3 terms and Minister of Justice for 2 terms, as a member of the Defense Council team of Mr. Veseli in this court. I see this indictment as a violation of my human professional dignity and of my reputation. Justice as a mission and profession and vocation, I will continue it from now, but from another position, but always abiding by the values with which I identify myself. I am very sorry about the problem I have that this indictment has created to my family, my friends and colleagues. I declare to them I am the same person I was before 6 December 2024. I will disillusion no one, neither you nor justice. Allow me to be clear. I have committed no criminal offense. I am innocent, and I am fully confident that I will be released from these charges. In this indictment, I am alongside President Thaçi. Allow me to say that Hashim is a friend of mine. We have known each other for many years and have worked together. Along all the work we've done together, we have always been guided by the principles of justice, respect for justice, and we have trusted in justice. As a lawyer, I have been led by the slogan, a rule of law. That is a guiding principle, and I'm sure that this court will do the same in its work. I have identified my work with the building of justice in the respect of judicial decisions, in trust in justice, and not failure to respect the court. Even when I was part of the defense team, when I could, through the law and the protocol of this court, to meet the witnesses, I never made use of this right. I didn't want people to have some misunderstanding of any thing. As I said, justice for me is a mission and a profession. I will do it now and in the future. I believe that all of us here are on the side of justice, with the aim being to go to the truth and enhance trust in justice for everyone here and outside this chamber. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Honor, belief in God and in justice is not wavered, even when you suffer defeats, when it seems that they are on the other side. But I am convinced that I am on its side, on the side of justice. Thank you for your attention.
Mr. Kuçi, as you have chosen to plead not guilty on both counts, the pretrial proceedings will continue with a view to preparing this case for trial pursuant to Rule 95 of the rules. I will thus move now to the working language of the proceedings. You may be seated and turn off your microphone, Mr. Kuçi. In the decision setting the date for initial appearances and related matters, I invited the parties to make oral submissions at today's hearing on the working language to be used in the present case according to Rule 8 of the rules. Could the parties indicate their preference for the record, starting with the specialist prosecutors who already mentioned it yesterday several times, but for the record, please, you have the floor.
Our preference remains English, Your Honor. Thank you.
For the Defense Counsel, Admiral?
The same, English, Your Honor. Thank you.
This is well noticed, thank you. I will issue a decision on this matter in due course. And in the same decision setting the date for initial appearances and related matters, I also indicated that I intend to schedule the first status conference in this case, pursuant to Rule 96 of the rules, on Tuesday, 17th December 2024 at 2 o'clock. I have also invited you to provide oral submissions at today's initial appearance on whether counsel and/or the accused intend to participate in the status conference in person or via video conference. And I give you the floor on that issue.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was wondering if it's possible to reschedule this meeting because the December 17th is not possible for me to attend in person. If it's not possible to reschedule, I'll attend via video conference. Thank you.
The specialist prosecutors wishes to take the floor on this matter. I also noticed already that you are available, but on this date?
Yes, we're available, Your Honor, and we prefer to proceed on the 17th.
So this is also on the record now. Thanks. So you will receive a scheduling order in due course that will also include the agenda. And that scheduling order, in that scheduling order, I will also provide guidelines on the requirement for attending the status conference via video conference, should this be necessary, Counsel. At this point, I would then like to ask the parties if there are any other issues strictly related to today's hearing that they would like to raise.
You know, there is one matter for the SPO to raise, and I'm happy to proceed in public to the extent we can, and if necessary, we'll request to move into private session. But this regards the conditions Your Honor has imposed at paragraph 4 of the Annex 5 to Decision 37, which are the conditions for Mr. Kuçi to obey while he's pending trial. And I note that subparagraphs C and D together could be read to bar contacts, certainly impermissible contacts with co-perpetrators. But I want to be a little bit more explicit about that, particularly in light of the remarks that were just made in the response to Your Honor's, what I took to be a yes or no question. But the entire crux of this case and the charge against, one of the contempt charges against Mr. Kuçi, relates directly to his being taxed by Mr. Thaçi during a non-privileged visit with Mr. Thaçi on September 3rd of 2023 to contact and tell at least one, and likely more than one, but certainly at least one witness exactly how to testify in case 6. That was the message that we received. That's the basis for the contempt charge. While we take a different view of the number of people that were involved in that, it is clear from the recording of that that it was contemplated that another person would be assisting in that. And so our request, Your Honor, is that Mr. Kuçi be barred from speaking with co-perpetrators who are named in this indictment, which he has. He has the indictment. And other individuals who are alleged to have been involved in his transmission or attempted transmission of instructions on behalf of Mr. Thaçi. And I'm not going to name those people now. I'm happy to file a written submission naming who we would ask specifically that Mr. Kuçi be barred from contacting. But I think that's necessary in this case, in particular, where Mr. Kuçi, as he pointed out, was already a defense team member of another defense team in case 6 when he engaged in the conduct that's alleged and now confirmed in the indictment that there's a well-grounded suspicion of. I think this is very necessary. The entire crux of the case is a disobedience and blatant disregard, and as Your Honor has noted, wanton disregard for the rules of this tribunal.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. Does the defense want to take the floor?
No issues.
All right. Would the prosecutor agree to file written submission today on this matter?
We could file that today, Your Honor,
Yeah,
yes.
perfect. And decision would then be issued in very due course.
Thank you.
Is there any other issue that any party wishes to raise at today's hearing? No, this concludes Mr. Kuçi's initial appearance hearing, and I wish to thank the parties and the registry for their attendance. And I also wish to thank, as always, our precious interpreters, stenographers, audiovisual technicians, and security personnel for their assistance. The hearing is now adjourned.
All rise.